The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host guests and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hope y'all are having a fabulous afternoon. Frank and I wanted to thank every one of you that's a listener. You know, I do this radio show pretty consistently every week.
Yep.
And it's contractual.
We've been doing this for years.
Yeah, behind the scenes, there's a thing called a contract, and that's what there's obligations for me to fulfill as well as the radio station. And we've just ended since the sale of the radio station with the new owner, I have finished my first contract, and this is our first week of our second contract. If it wasn't for the people listening and Frank and the radio station, I wouldn't be here, right?
We would to our listeners for sure. 100%.
Absolutely, and
yes.
It's the advertisers. Just like if you've been listening on the station now, there was a self-defense provider that was advertising just on the radio, which is kind of interesting. It's nice to see
new
different
sponsors,
businesses that maybe you're not interested in, but someone else that's listening may be. And I look at advertising as good information, not just trying to push their product, but you're going to hear and expose yourself to things that you may never have been exposed to. And maybe the same with my car show.
Oh, yeah.
I own a repair shop here in Martin County, actually two of them. If you're a first-time listener, welcome aboard. The name of the business is Crown Car Care. I'm just a caretaker of it. The business exists on its own. I happen to be the originator or founder of it, my wife and I. We've been around quite a while. I think 2006 we've been around. And our first location is in Palm City. It's on the corner of 42nd Street and 714, which is on the western side of Palm City. And then I have a repair shop, Frank, on Cove Road, which is just a little bit south of downtown Stuart, which would be on the southern throes of Martin County. Both convenient locations. We have big parking lots. We have great staff. And more importantly than anything, and this is more important than anything, we say what we're going to do, and we have the capabilities to do what we're going to say. Right? Many in my business, pick any business, air conditioning, plumbing, it doesn't matter what it is. You can say anything you want, but as things progress with technology and time, you better be able to do what you used to be able to do on different models and makes and types and styles. Cars have changed over the years, and boy, they've gotten complicated. But one of the blessings that Crown Car Care, who is the sponsor of this show, does is we keep current. We keep equipment, and it's a undertaking that I would say is probably the biggest undertaking in my business. It's the hardest thing for us to do. And that's one of the reasons I do a radio show, because it enables me to always be thinking about car maintenance, different models. It keeps me fresh and alive. It's like instead of being in the bullpen all the time, waiting for that chance to be the star pitcher, I'm always out there pitching balls, pitching it to you, the public, of what we can do, how we can do it. And that's why I do this radio show. Yeah. I also enjoy it. My friend here, Frank, we've developed a friendship over the radio. And now we're starting our second contract, and it's great. The radio station here is just a beautiful place. I call it world headquarters, but it's on the foot of the bridge going over into Palm Beach County. Or not Palm Beach, but Port St. Lucie County, up into Port, over the main Stuart Bridge, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of this bridge is, but it's
the Roosevelt
Bridge.
Yeah.
And the original one is still there.
Yes.
And let's get at it. The topic for today is going to be how to make your car last 150,000 miles.
Wow. Nice. I like that idea.
And the three topics of that we'll be discussing today, then we're going to get into the news so you can hear some stuff that's current, is how to choose the correct vehicle, maintenance along the journey, and driving habits and keeping your car clean. Those three factors, we'll break them down, flesh them out, and we'll talk about it. But until then, let's get some news from Frank.
All right. So Trump says that China will ship rare earth in done trade deal. So apparently it is a done deal between the United States and China. And this is what breaking news for today. So that's huge, but I'm sure the stock markets will react favorably tomorrow.
Yeah. In fact, I think the May was the best May ever in the history of the stock market, I think, maybe in terms of total returns. But of course, remember, it had gone down quite a bit. So, and remember, climbing back up takes twice. If your stock market, if your price of your stock drops 50%, it takes 100% gain to catch up to the loss of 50%.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not 50-50. So it's
no,
it takes twice the percentage.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. So if you lose 20, you need 40 to get back to the starting point.
Yeah. And
most people don't know that.
Yeah. So we're kind of crawling our way back up.
Yep. But what we don't want is artificial boosting of stock price just for the sheer sake of making money off the trading aspect of it. That isn't what it is supposed to be about.
It's about
an investment in a company. You as a common man can invest in companies and businesses that you would never have the chance to.
Right.
And it can be exciting.
Yeah.
It can be fun, but you got to watch it. Don't trade and buy, at least in my opinion, for the sheer sake of doing that. You buy because you think there's value in it.
That's right.
You think there's value in it. Like, for example, Home Depot might be a good stock to buy. What a great company that is. Yeah. And I believe they're underpriced a little bit. Not a bad value, right? Look at it. Smell it. Go into the stores. Go into any business that you're thinking about investing in and visit them. Visit Crown Car Care. We don't sell stock or anything, but we can sure protect your investment.
Right.
Which is kind of what I'm leading to, the investment of the car. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah. So no, it's a very good dissertation. GM CFO, now CFO is the corporate financial officer. He says that the $4 billion in U.S. investment addresses the tariffs shifting demand. So there's a bit of an offset, is what he's suggesting. The incoming capital for all the growth, new businesses coming to the U.S. will help to address some of the shortfalls.
Yeah, if I said that Crown Car Care can maybe repair your car at 50% cheaper than everybody else and do just as good a job, I would think everyone should raise their hand, right? It should say. But if I told you then that your car is going to be gone for 2 months and we have to put it on a transport boat and it's being shipped to China where they can do it much more effectively and cheaper because of the labor costs, and then it comes back, so you won't see your car for 2 months. Would that be of interest to you? No, but I could do it. And I think that's what's happened over the years with our country. We thought that outsourcing and making things out of country was going to be the big benefit to the population.
Right, because we're a consumer-based economy.
Cheaper. Okay, it's cheaper. Cheaper isn't always better.
No,
because if you're not making it, who really controls you? If there was a disagreement between you and a country that was doing a lot of your manufacturing, what could they do to the country in disagreement with? They could stop selling it to you, or they could raise the prices much higher than it would have been if you made it at home.
That's right.
I think it's more important to have all of your manufacturing, for the most part, as long as you can, in-house, as long as you can, and you can compete on a world basis, global basis. And I argue that the United States of America has never had a challenge it couldn't overcome. Heck, in Revolutionary War, it was a band of people protesting what? Taxation, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Right? Taxation, guys.
Without representation.
Yes. Boston Tea Party. But it was a band of people locally that decided enough is enough. We need to have the people of where we live make the laws and rules,
right? Not
somebody else. And that's, even if you get into politics, you talk about who's influencing whose back pocket. If I have a lawmaker that's for Martin County up at the Capitol here in Tallahassee, is that where it's at? I want them to represent me because I'm a business here in Martin County, Crown Car Care, 2 locations. So I want my interests served. So everything that we've been reading about and Frank's talking about now is about making sure that your interests as a country, as a state, and as a local municipality are served by the people that you vote and represent. They represent you, not who donated to their political party. because over the course of several years, then the thing will get skewed to the point where you have to have almost what we had to do in this country, make a quiet, well, this would be a quiet shift to vote in somebody else so they can represent you. Yeah. Representation of the masses.
Right.
That's what we want. And we'll represent you at Crown Car Care. When you come into us, there's no bias. If you ask me for opinion, I will logically give it to you. So will the staff. But we will evaluate your vehicle individually and discuss with you individually how we can best serve you, whether it's for a broken down car, maintain a car, or coming to us because you're buying a car for your daughter who's now entering high school. We'll give you advice on what to buy in the future. Is that important? Yeah. Good advice is very difficult to find that is unbiased. No one's in my back pocket. I pay for everything. So the voices that I communicate with through my staff are going to answer your questions, your concerns, strictly for the factual presentation of what it is. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. If I go to a big box, publicly traded tire store that's a chain, I would argue at times you might not get what's best suited for you.
Right.
You might get what's in stock.
Right.
And an older inventory to push it along.
Right.
You might not get the best oil for your car because that's not what they carry.
Right. You want to be careful not to buy the price rather than the product. So this is the problem. A lot of consumers get confused that it's like for like, and it isn't always.
I think once you choose the like for like, then price may come in to evaluate between differential service providers.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm not the only great service provider. Now, of course, if you ask me, I'm going to always say I'm the best service provider in Martin County, and I believe I'm the largest independent. I have 2 locations, and we're been around the long. I think. I mean, I'm not sure because I don't really study my competition. I'm too busy sailing. I'm too busy sailing my ship to serve my customers that I have to worry about anyone that's chasing me.
Yeah.
Because the minute they chase me, for some reason, a gust of wind happens to hit my sails, and it pushes me further ahead.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's always been for Crown Car Care. I don't need to propel my boat. My boat is the wind comes from my customers. Yes. That's who pushes my boat.
I like it. They're the wind beneath your wings.
They certainly are, aren't they?
Yes.
And the minute you take them for granted,
yeah,
that northeasterly is going to start blowing south, and you're going to be stuck in the middle of the water and not knowing how to do it. And that's why we do this radio show.
Right.
How important it is to stay current on events.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Everything's.
I'm older. I'm 61 years old, and I don't find it more challenging, but I find it difficult and harder for me to maintain all the information that I've learned over my many years and then still assimilate new and retain it all. When you're younger, that's it. Your total memory is only for how many years you've been alive. But once you start to be alive a few years, the dictionary or encyclopedia set becomes quite large.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm able to do it. My staff is able to do it.
Yes.
This is why you wouldn't see me here smiling.
We got tools that help us as well. Yeah. So item last, before we get on with the meat and potatoes of the show, Elon Musk retreats from the Trump feud.
Oh,
kind of knew that was coming. But years of political drama have eroded Tesla's image. Well,
was it coming anyway? Was this coming anyway? I think.
Yes. So it was such a you got 2 alpha males, and then you have a bromance, like they did. It never ends well, generally. But now intellectually, I think they've had a chance to kind of cooler minds will prevail, and I think they go, okay, all right, we still have more areas of agreement than disagreement, so let's move on.
Isn't that the way?
That's the way democracy
works.
Yes.
Friendships work.
Yes.
Business relations work. Yeah. And family relations. In your family, you may not completely agree with your son or daughter or wife or mother or father. But you don't throw all of their opinions away. You just say, I disagree with this area.
Mhm.
And like my mother may like bicycling. Well, I don't think we can incorporate bicycling for everybody. Can we? We still need cars, don't we? Same with electric cars.
Mhm.
Electric cars are not for everybody, but I sure love them.
Yeah.
I love Teslas. I can't say that I like some of the models that come out of the domestic and European and Japanese manufacturers because they've never done it before, nor do they have the experience. Now all of a sudden they have electric cars. Well, who's going to service and fix them when they break? If they're just a fascination with current trends.
Yeah. Right.
A fascination
Yeah.
with current trends does not make you an expert.
No.
You've got to put your time in. And I have put my time in. I've been fixing these hybrids since the beginnings of me opening my business.
Wow.
Yes. Been doing hybrids. They're not for everybody, but we're so good at it that people can come to us knowing that maybe they're getting better service than the manufacturer's franchised business store, locations.
Mm.
And that's our goal, to provide better service than
Right.
you would if you went to the manufacturer's place of recommendation. Not just in size of the location, the convenience of the location, but really when it comes to getting to the right solution for you faster and more efficiently.
Right.
The solution.
All right. So great. We got about 8 minutes. So let's hit the topic one. So the overarching goal is to get our customers to get 150,000 miles on their car purchase.
And I think that's a low number. I think you can go a lot higher, but I just chose that randomly
because
it used to, well, still people think it's a ton of mileage.
It is.
Talk to an Uber driver.
Yeah.
They'll
bury that in the first year, right?
So the three topics under this are how to choose the correct vehicle, maintenance along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and then driving habits. Let's talk about choosing the right vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that's critical because, if you are driving a commuter route, then you need more of a commuter vehicle. And if you are driving the kids to school, you need maybe more like an SUV, and if you need
what about the brand and where it was made?
That's all enters into it. Yes, absolutely.
Now, if a family of four was asking me, we fell in love with this car that was made in West Germany in 1964 called the Amphicar. Would that be a good choice for daily commuting?
Probably not.
Well, it has
in 1964 it would have been fine.
It has a back seat. It has wheels, brakes.
Yeah.
4-cylinder engine, pretty efficient. It also has propellers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So watch it in a wind.
But we know that wouldn't be a good choice.
Not the best choice. No.
Right. No, why wouldn't it be a good choice? Well, maybe availability of parts, maybe the longevity. Was it built to last?
Mm-hmm.
Can it perform the function of what you want? Yeah, but it can do a lot of other functions too. Not real good, but it will work. Now, if you want a high mileage vehicle, would a high-end SUV AMG Mercedes that's $180,000 out the door be a good choice if you plan to keep your car for the long haul?
Do tell. So Mercedes-Benz.
I would say it could be.
Yes.
You could get
with
lucky.
Caveats,
but I don't think it's the right choice at all.
Yeah.
Because if someone's looking, you have to understand who's looking for that 150,000 to 200,000 mile type vehicle. Is it your average Mercedes owner? Heck no. No way in heck.
No.
They trade theirs in every 2 to 3 years, and it goes downstream to another buyer who's trying to look like the first buyer.
So the car is going to have somewhere between 40 to 60, 70,000 miles on it.
Your average Mercedes after the first owner.
Yes. That's
then second owner is a Me Too. They want to look like they've arrived. They buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after that, it's
then they get the repair bill and they move the car on.
That's correct. And it happens all the time in my shops. I see it all the time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the right vehicle is most important.
Yeah.
Right. If you are wanting to play basketball and your dream is to be in the NBA and you are passionate and you've been playing since you were a young person, boy or girl, there's the women's NBA. If you were, let's say you wanted to be a center, which is the person in the middle that gets the rebounds, etc. For the most part. If you were 5'6", do you think your value proposition of your future is a good one?
If for being a center,
Yeah,
probably not.
Could it work though? Absolutely, it could work.
Well, sure.
But you would have to overcompensate to make it work.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing I'm talking about with cars. Any car can get there from here. But the goal of getting to 150 to 200,000 miles is what I'm talking about is easy, not a lot of ton of money along the long haul when you add it all up.
Right.
Not going to break the bank. And at the same time, serve all the needs that you need in your particular individual situation.
Nice.
Those are the three things. But anything can work. You know, if we took a copy of the moon lander, okay, could we drive that? I suppose if you could and make it work, you could do it.
The lunar rover.
The lunar rover.
Yeah.
You just bring a lot of batteries and have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And get a special plate that says it's for display or whatever experimental. You could do it. But I would tell you it might not be the most pleasant journey.
No, you'd want to only ride along the beach because of the wheels.
But you'd get a lot of attention if that's what you were seeking.
The wheels wouldn't work on the road. So yes.
So how about a Japanese vehicle? Is that a good choice?
It may be.
Well,
yeah.
If we look at historically, Japanese vehicles over the long haul, if you look in some Consumer Report magazines and overall general data that people have extensively researched scientifically, Japanese cars seem to have more durability and last longer, as well as cost less to fix over the long haul.
So that's what's the number one Japanese Toyota?
I would say Toyota and Honda are going to be the ones that break the least. Toyota, but everyone loses their way. I've lost mine. Everyone loses their way every once in a while. We get confused. We see an ice cream cone and we want to have it. Right?
Yeah. It's cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some presidents love jelly beans.
Yeah.
The last president we had loved ice cream.
Yes.
He did. I've seen him. He loved ice cream.
Yes.
I like ice cream too, but it might not be my direction. You have to choose the right car to start with. Now, what happens? Well, Todd, my parents bought me this car and this is all I could afford at the time. Well, then let's take a look and see what we got. But maybe it's time to cut your losses and get something else. Because certain cars aren't worth keeping.
Right.
They're just not worth it. Now, of the Japanese cars, Toyota, great choice. Honda, great choice. Nissan, I think they're more of a medium long-term car. I don't think they're quite there in terms of long term.
Right.
There's some issues. We have CV transmission issues, and there's some build quality issues with Nissan. And in fact, Nissan right now, I believe, is in trouble. Why don't we take a break? I think it's been 8 minutes, and then we'll come back.
All right. We'll do just that. So stick with us. We'll be right back. All right.
That was our sister station we just heard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I used to do my radio show up there.
Yeah, you have to remember that. Yeah.
My famous scene was I had a guest on it, had lizards, a reptile store, and a gigantic Komodo dragon escaped. The thing was like 5 feet long, and it went to the bathroom all over the floor.
No, terrible.
It was crazy. But that was up in a different, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it was a gigantic lizard that escaped. So there you have it.
Yeah.
I'm going to rattle off some brands and cars, and I'm just going to tell you and see. You'll get the flavor of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Toyota Corolla, yes, long-term car. Honda Accord, yes. Honda Civic, yes. Ford Mustang, yes. Ford Explorer, yes. GMC Arcadia, yes. Ford F-150, yes. BMW X5 SUV hybrid, no. Mercedes SL 500, no. Jaguar F-Pace all electric, Heavens no.
Exclamation point.
Tesla Model 3, yes. Tesla Cybertruck, no. Model Y by Tesla, yes. Ford F-150 Lightning, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
A qualified maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Dodge Neon, yes. Dodge Caravan or Chrysler minivan, yes. Dodge Ram pickup truck, yes. Dodge diesel pickup truck, yes. Duramax diesel pickup truck, yes. Nissan pickup truck with the Cummins diesel engine in it, no. There's the trend here. There should be something beneath my words that are leading us into the yes and no's. More common, a little bit simpler. And I'm going to tell you, all you have to do, go on the internet and search around yourself. Now, you may have to call us to get some qualifications on that because you will get some false information. But it's out there. Let's move on to part 2, which is maintenance along the journey. I'm going to label off all the things that you need to do to keep your car 150,000 miles or more. Some of it is controversial, but I'm going to go through the whole list and then we can cherry pick some of the ones and discuss them at length.
Nice.
Oil, 5,000 or 6 months. No, some people argue with that. Transmission fluid, 50,000 or 5 years. Coolant, 50,000 or 5 years. Differential, front or rear or transfer case, 50,000 or 5 years. See the link? They're all the same mileage. Air filter every year. Cabin filter every year. And by the way, a cabin air filter can prevent an evaporator leak on an AC by keeping the debris away, forming an acid mix with organic material eating up the aluminum on the outside. That's a good reason why you do a cabin filter, not just for breathing air. Air conditioning, service every 2 years. Clean evaporator and deodorizer is what I'm talking about. Alignment every 15,000 miles. PCV valve every 50,000 miles. Brake fluid every 2 years. Spark plugs every 80 to 100,000 miles. And brakes inspect every oil change. And most importantly, stick with the same service provider that is honest, truthful, and accommodating. All of our repairs that we do is reported on Carfax. So you will always have that data information. We're always willing to talk about everything we do or don't do and give you reasons. It matters. It's important, especially if your car is one built to last because you want it to be built to last. And you want to have a service provider, finally, that is local or close to you. Remember, we just gave the example that we could make it cheaper, that if we loaded it on a big barge and shipped it to another country that was much cheaper to repair, but it would take a long time and you wouldn't have any transparency of the process. You'd have to just take what you get. Yeah. Whereas it's like buying frozen food. If you buy frozen food, it might be convenient, but you have to take it what you get. There's nothing you can do, right? It's frozen. You just heat it up and eat it. Whereas if you buy the raw ingredients, you can cook it, saute it, inspect it, right? Each process till the final product where you eat it. Right. Frozen food is no good. Well, sometimes I think that the dealerships that are the manufacturer's arm. Remember, manufacturers of cars, all they want to do is sell cars. That's their business. That's where all the money comes from. Right. Servicing them is just an inherent evil that they look at. I think. I mean, I don't think it's built into it. I think they just have to. Right. Tesla. We talked about Tesla about 4 or 5 years ago. How they're not able to service the cars they sell. Yeah. It's a big problem. That's why we service Teslas at our shops, right? I saw the need. Right. But before I advertised that I could do it, what did I do?
You did your homework.
And I went away and got trained on it.
Yeah.
I got trained on it.
Yeah.
You don't want to say what you can do unless if the spotlight's on you, you can do what you say.
Yeah. Very important. Yeah.
We do exhaust work. I just bought a very expensive, about $20,000, a machine that bends and flares exhaust piping, and 2 brand new welders over at my Cove Road store, because we have a certified welder that's a technician there. And now we can do repairs on commercial vehicles as well as custom vehicles. We can do any kind of exhaust you want. Think about that. I don't think there's anybody in this town that does that, or at least has the kind of equipment I do.
Right.
Equipment's key. It's key. Didn't used to be in our back in 1973, how important was equipment to fix cars? No, not that really that important.
No, you needed
You needed the tools to do the job, but you don't
Yeah.
need any test equipment per se.
no,
Simple
yeah,
things.
A wrench.
A wrench and an ear and an eyeball.
Yeah, good screwdriver.
Right? Back in
Yeah.
the day when you had all kinds of cool cars. Didn't you have a you had a Chevy
Malibu.
and that little one? What was that little one that you had that was
Oh,
very fuel
Chevy
efficient?
Chevette.
They were underrated, I
Yes,
think, and underappreciated at the
yes.
time.
Yeah.
What kind of mileage did you get on that?
Oh God! So
Oh.
they said you were going to get in the 40s. Never happened. I got in the upper 30s,
Oh.
which was okay. And but I moved away to California
Yeah.
and left the car at home. So my family put a bunch of mileage on that car. So I got a lot of exercise, and it served well.
In the Mac of Popular Mechanics and Popular Science magazine many years ago, you used to be able to get the plans for a carburetor that would give you over 100 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
And now there's no ads anymore. Where'd
No.
they go? Where'd the carburetor go? Did it ever exist? I've heard that it burned water.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
Yeah,
Oh, I
must
don't-
be magic.
I don't understand how that works.
I don't either.
But it may have. But they had carburetor that said average.
Oh, sure, I remember those.
You remember those ads? And I
Sure.
could buy Army surplus for a penny.
Yeah.
You could buy tanks for a penny.
You know what I really wanted to do? Because apparently there was a bunch of Army surplus Jeeps from World War II that were still in the crates.
Would love to have had that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to get a Willys Jeep?
I've worked on them before. A few years back. I
Yeah.
did quite a bit of. Yeah, they. Do you know that on the Jeeps for the military, all the wiring is waterproof?
So
The
it had to
ignition
be.
system is all sealed with gaskets, and it's very, very advanced.
Sure,
Quite advanced for what you would think it would be.
sure, because everything was exposed.
They could go submerged and still run.
Yeah.
You know, the air intake was up high.
Yeah.
Well, the only problem is I don't know if I'd want to be in a theater where I would be having to use that vehicle for real purposes.
Yeah. It was a little ungainly.
You know, right now it's Los Angeles is the theater. From what I've been reading,
Yeah.
right?
Woof.
We don't have to go overseas. Just
No.
go to the West Coast.
Woo.
You lived in California, Frank, didn't you?
I did.
Ooh, what's it like over there? Is it crazy?
Land of fruit and nuts.
Yeah, it's a zoo over there. We got to keep the wild animals contained. Bring in the Marines.
Woo.
I think they bring in some heavy-duty Marines. If I'm not, very interesting.
Yeah.
Sad for the people that live in LA because I believe it's being destroyed.
It is. So why do you? So Waymo is owned by Google, as I understand it,
Okay.
right? So if you're mad at the current administration because of what they're doing as far as getting rid of illegal immigrants that are criminals, and you want to hurt them, why would you burn vehicles that belong to Google?
I don't know.
There's
why,
no
would-
connection.
why would you burn any vehicle?
Well,
I agree, but even
Right.
the Google is even more far-fetched.
I mean, it's
It's the same thing that we ran into when
I guess unless it's a theater of the burning car on the movie. On the
I
TV
believe that
screens. Yeah.
Teslas for many months have been deliberately sabotaged and damaged.
Yes.
Why would you do that? What the heck's that got to do with anything? Are you for this country or are you against this country? And what process are you going to do to make sure that your belief system of how you believe is going to be exercised?
Yeah.
I think if you're for the country, well, I don't know. I think you don't want to destroy it. But again, everyone is entitled to their opinions
Right.
as long as it doesn't endanger the public health and safety and well-being of other people's freedoms.
Right.
That's what really matters.
Very wise radio personality once said that your rights end where mine begin. That was Paul Harvey.
Oh,
It's very profound.
I'm stunned. That was very powerful.
Yeah.
Now, see, if you noticed along the list that I said, pretty
Mhm.
much 5,000 miles or every 6 months, you have to change your oil.
Right.
All your fluids that are oil-based are pretty much 50,000 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got your, your more incidental things that happen to go bad faster or wear out faster or get dirtier faster. Your filters every
Mhm.
year,
Mm-hmm.
air conditioning every 2 years. Now, you follow that. And then the secret sauce, the secret tip.
Yes.
Research the car that you have and see what kind of problems surface on that particular engine, make, and model year.
Mhm.
And then maybe you can do some preventative action so you don't have to have that big catastrophic
Ah.
repair. Only for your car, not generic, because all the stuff that we just stated, Frank, is all
Mhm.
generic.
Right. Exactly.
I'm talking about exactly.
Right. So now let's say you owned a Ford F-150
Mhm.
and you've got 100,000 miles on it and you want it to keep going to 150 or more.
Mhm.
And so what would I be looking for in alerts for drivetrain potential issues? Is there
You want
any?
to listen to when you start it up cold? Is there
Mhm.
any tapping noise?
Mhm.
Most vehicles that are Ford and newer, which is I think what we're talking about within 10 years of being
Right.
built
Right.
to the current day, would be timing chain noise.
Okay.
Because all these engines has overhead cams and there's chains and tensioners that are built into the engine,
Right.
but serviceable and repairable.
Mhm.
And you want to listen to that noise when you first start it up in the morning cold or evening cold.
Right.
If you hear a ticking noise, then it goes away and it seems to get more and more frequent, no more miles, we might want to then have a conversation about what we can do to go in there and strategically fix it. Oh, it's much better to fix it before it breaks. Because if it's catastrophic breakage, you could damage the entire motor, whereas you would just have a repair bill for the timing chain and or phasers on that engine. A ticking noise when you start it up cold that sounds like a popping noise would be an exhaust manifold that's leaking. You want to catch that beforehand, right? There is signs,
Mhm.
but guess what?
You got to listen for 'em.
You listen to them, and if
Yeah.
you're coming to Crown Car Care, we have 2 locations, and honest to goodness, I tell you, go look at some of our reviews on Google Business as well as my website, which has been recently redesigned. They're all honest to goodness real reviews. Some of them are bad, but
Well,
that's just the way it is.
right.
If I fix 100 cars, for some reason, 2 of the people might
gonna
not
get-
like the flavor of ice cream that I serve or how I served it. It might be melted. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's everything.
Yeah.
Honesty from me is all you get.
Right.
Even if it makes me look bad, I still have to broadcast it because that means I'm bettering myself.
Right.
And I'm not embarrassed by any types of issues that I have in my business or even myself personally.
Yeah, criticism is always welcome because it's going to be constructive.
Yeah.
You know.
So another noise that you might hear is if you're going around a corner, do you hear a grinding noise if it's a pickup truck in the rear?
Ooh,
Okay, so you might now
differential.
we got a differential bearing that we
Yeah.
need to adjust. Did you use your truck to put your boat in and out of the water? Well, now we know why. Water got in through the input shaft and it took out the pinion bearing.
Whoops.
Let's get that fixed right away so you don't have an issue. That's how we can address your personal vehicle for future
Right.
repairs and lasting longevity. But I'm talking about right now is just you have to do these things. There is no option. If you're doing your oil change every 12,000 miles, well then we can talk all we want, but it's the likelihood of you getting there. Well, you'll maybe get there, but there's a greater chance you won't. And I can't save the ship then.
Right.
I can't. The only way to save the ship that you're driving or steering is to start now.
Mm.
And I suggest you call us 772-781-8000. If you call that number, 772-781-8000, what a great number it is too. I've had
Yeah.
it since the beginning.
Mhm.
Somebody will answer the phone and help you. We'll make an appointment. We'll get you in and you will then become under the umbrella of Crown Car Care, the best, and I consider the only choice for car repair and maintenance in Martin County. Just come see us and you'll become part of the family.
Nice.
Isn't that cool?
It is. And we'll be right back. This is going to be our last message, and then we'll have closing comments. Give us a call here at the radio station, 220-9788, and we'll see you in a minute. All right. We are back.
Oh, we are.
We are indeed.
Before we get into the third topic, I'll just ramble off a couple quick ideas that I have
right.
that fit somewhere along the line.
Okay.
Stick with one service provider. Clean your mass airflow sensor every 2 years, which most people don't do. Replace your PCV every 50,000 miles.
Good to know.
Don't forget about Mazda when you're looking at choosing the correct vehicle. They're really good vehicles. Don't forget Subaru, but they do have drivetrain issues because most of them are four-wheel drive.
Right.
And the last statement I'll say is, and a lot of people don't know this, that I believe it's Subaru, has a warm-up light that it's blue. And when the engine's warmed up, it goes off. And why I say that is one of the reasons you want to have, one of the ways you can make a car last is don't rev your motor when it's cold.
Yes.
Don't rev it when it's cold.
One of the first things I taught my wife when she learned how to drive, because she's a new car driver, and was to start the car and listen for the idle to change.
To drop down.
Yes. And it drops down. I says, that's when it lets you know it's ready to drive.
I know that Frank, you've pitched before in baseball. And you have quite a pitch. The speed and your technique is pretty much a strikeout king. You warm up in the bullpen, don't you, before you go out on the show?
You do.
Isn't that the same thing as warming up your car? You have to let it warm up.
You got to warm that arm up. Yeah. In fact, when you come off the mound, what do you do in the dugout? You have to wear a jacket, keep that arm warm. Yeah.
Whenever you're watching games, if you ever saw Frank play, when the head coach would send one out there to warm up at the bullpen, you know that terror was coming for the eyes of the other team because that
here he
your
comes.
sinking curveball, I think it's called, was untouchable.
It was difficult. Yeah.
I never could throw a curveball. I didn't know how to do it.
Well, I'll bring over a baseball
one
day.
Me. I've got pictures. I've got pictures of you. That, in fact, one of your big pictures.
We'll play in the
you gave
backyard
me,
one day.
Detroit Tigers. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Detroit Tigers. Stick with one service provider. Now, driving habits and keeping the car clean.
Yes.
Okay. Driving habits fall into that what we just talked about. Warm your car up.
Yes.
No heavy braking. Any other tips you can think of, Frank, that you've used over the years? Because your cars always seem to go the distance.
No heavy. Yeah, I think.
What's your trick? What are your tricks?
So my trick is I don't accelerate quickly off the line.
Yep.
Unless I'm test driving a car, but then you never know.
You've lost your darn phone. Actually, your phone's been displaced.
But yeah, so never be the number one off the line. And you know, if you see there's a traffic light ahead, don't race up to it. You know,
right. Don't try to overcome it. Just come to a coasting stop.
Yeah, because you're it's just not going
because Frank, your cars always are well maintained. You maintain them at Crown Car Care. Again, 2 locations. You know, this is who does the show, Crown Car Care, 772-781-8000. That's who we are. Call us. We want you to be part of us. Frank uses us as a service provider over the years. He maintains it, but he doesn't go crazy either. And that's another thing I need to talk about. You don't have to go nuts on maintaining your car. I mean, there's a point where it's overkill.
Right.
Pace it.
Yeah. Just
do what's required. I think actually what we're talking about now might be one of the most important things. Don't beat the heck out of the car.
Right. Yeah.
And you've chosen the right vehicles. In fact, your choice on vehicles, you wouldn't even need to know me and you'd still make a sharp, good, educated business decision in terms of your vehicle or family decision. You make good choices on your vehicles, Frank. I think it's built into you.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of people don't. They get seduced by what is good to be seen in.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You're going to be seen. In fact, President Trump was, I think, gifted a Tesla. Now he doesn't want to be seen in this thing. I think he's taking it off the White House gun. Plus, he's got an airplane he can fly around if he was bored.
Yeah.
747.
Yeah, nice.
When they found out it was cheaper to refurb it than to buy a new one.
Yes.
That's a big plane.
Yes.
I wonder how much fuel that sucker holds.
Quite a bit.
Think there's any secret technologies on that?
Oh, yeah.
Secret stuff.
I think so.
I think I've seen it in cartoons. If you get too close to it, like smoke comes out the back, so you're blinding the pilot. When you're taking off, if someone's chasing you, I think they throw tacks out onto the runway.
Right. I love it.
Right. They have rotating call signs, so you don't know it's the president.
Oh, yeah.
They change everything. Secret stuff,
Yeah.
blinds that if you're trying to fly next to them and look in upside down, like on Top Gun, then the windows automatically get darkened so you can't see what's going on.
Yes.
It's simple things,
Yes.
to hide that big bird. Kind of hard to hide, though, isn't it?
No.
It'd be hard to hide.
747.
I like to smoke.
Yeah.
Just billow out smoke, and no one will notice you.
Yeah.
Just big poofs of smoke.
Yeah.
It's a spontaneous cumulus cloud, Frank. That's what it is.
That's what it's
It's the cloud simulator. I saw it on Roadrunner cartoon.
There it is.
It was made by Acme. Acme makes a lot of things.
They do. The anvils.
Anvils, tacks.
Yeah.
Yes. Small, heavy things hammers that fall on people randomly. They seem to always fall on the person that has the ill will intent.
Yes.
Never hits the intended victim.
Yes.
So
Okay.
no heavy braking, no heavy acceleration.
Right.
Okay, how about taking care of the vehicle from an appearance standpoint? Should you keep the car vacuumed and cleaned out on the inside?
Yes.
And there's a big reason for that too.
Right.
If you get too much dirt on the inside, when you have your air conditioning at its coldest, which everyone does, recirculation, you're going to be bringing in dirt then.
Yeah.
When you bring in dirt, it deposits on the evaporator, and it will, if you take organic material, pollen, anything, food particles, it will build up on the outside. And then if it gets moist, which it will, it's always moist there.
It's stinky.
And then it turns into an acid and then etches and eats up the aluminum.
That's
If you've
not
ever
good.
been near the water and you see what happens with aluminum,
Yeah.
it corrodes.
Yes.
Every evaporator that I know of, 100% is aluminum on new vehicles.
Right.
The old days, it were copper and brass, but now they're aluminum. So what I just said is valid. We have a service where you should come in every 2 years and we can clean that evaporator with a chemical process, and then it refreshes it too and deodorizes it. Very inexpensive, very effective, and good stuff. So dirty car on the inside can result in failed parts on the inside too. Dirt can get on electrical switches, and dirt and minerals are generally conductive, so it can short out a circuit.
Right.
Truthfully, same with the dirty engine compartment.
Yeah.
I see wiring issues on vehicles that are generally dirty and filthy cars as opposed to ones that are kept clean. I don't know why. And dirt can cause voltage drops in connections, and then it can cause modules to fail. Keeping the battery terminal clean. We never talked about the battery. If you're not replacing your battery every 3 years, you're gambling on risk. You're taking risk because it will fail shortly thereafter. And if you enjoy having a breakdown, wait till it fails.
Yeah.
I propose we prevent it from failing by replacing it at the right time by doing testing, which we can do at each oil change. We can test that battery. If we test it, even though it starts your car, take the advice or don't take the advice.
Right.
But I can tell you that if you take our advice, you will be on that journey towards long-lasting high mileage on your vehicle. And can I say 100%? Nope, can't. No one can. You know that. Just I can't tell you if a steak's going to taste good that you buy at Publix until you cook it. It might not be a good cut of beef. I can't tell you if a gallon of milk's going to taste good, but for the most part, it is if it's fresh and bought at a reputable store. If you have your service done at a reputable repair shop that's been around, that has qualified technicians and advanced and modern equipment, your chances of getting good service are very, very high likely. And that's where it is at Crown Car Care. Look at our Google business reviews. Do you know that every customer that comes in our shops gets an email and a rating and a questionnaire so we can better ourselves? Every customer. We send thank you notes out. We'll drive you home. If you need a ride back because you know it's going to be a while with the repair of your vehicle, we'll take care of that ride for you. You don't have to. We'll pick you up when it's ready. You can pay over the phone.
Nice.
There's many things that we can send you videos through our information system so you can see what is broken on your car if you so desire. We can do video inspections of our underlookings of the underside of the car, the suspension, the brakes, the shocks, plugs, wires, hoses. If you'd like to see a nice, so I don't know, not evidence, but maybe some documentation that would show that these are bad, we can send them to you and point them out and talk to you about it. Isn't that amazing? That there's total transparency. It almost sounds too good to be true, but it's not too good to be true because we do offer that service here in Martin County. Been here a long time. I do this radio show every week because I love to do this radio show, and it forces me to be able to pontificate about the things that Frank and I talk about each
Yeah.
week with expertise level. I'm ASE certified master technician. I'm certified in ambulances and fire trucks. I'm certified on Teslas. I'm certified on electric cars and hybrids.
Nice.
You check all the boxes and you put the homework in, you do the studying, you can become an expert. Took many years for me to be an expert, but I'm able to say it. Is the service provider you going to saying they're an expert? What are their accreditations? What's the history of their business and how good are they or how bad are they?
Yeah.
Come to Crown Car Care and ask for the picture,
Yeah.
and we'll have to get back to you
Yes.
because he's only on the radio.
Yes.
And he is darn good. Do you know Frank drives great distance, and this is the truth, to come to be on this radio show. And I think it's quite honorable of him to do it because he wants to be part of this history-making radio show and effort that we do here in Martin County. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, and I look forward to visiting with you again next week. Take care.
You bet.
All right. Good night, everybody.